So let's flip that question on its head. Are there any do's? So factors that have become very important about when writing about magic or technology, things that you absolutely need to think about, steps you need to go through, or facets that you always think that you should explore when talking about magic or technology?
Those, I mean, there's a lot of those. It's going to be, the starting one is going to be, you need to figure out uh, early in your planning process as the author, how much does this magic affect society? How much does it affect the world around it? Is this a magic slash technology that is only available to the very richest or the most powerful? Do regular people even know about it? Is this a thing that's common? Is it ubiquitous? Is somebody gonna see, is somebody in a magical world going to see a particular technology and go, oh yeah, that's normal? Or are they going to go, ah, and, run away?
Right.
Because they think that it's, a demon or something. I don't know. But, how is this, how does what are the repercussions of your magic and your technology throughout the rest of the world? And kind of, yeah, and that's part of basic world building, but it's also something that I also kind of put a stop on that. Like I think that you definitely need to do that, but you also, if you spend 2 years of your life trying to go down the rabbit hole of how your magic affects every single tiny bit of society, you've wasted your time.
There's a name for that. It's world builder syndrome, and it's to be avoided at all costs.
Yes. Now I have the opposite of world builder's disease, which is that I underworld build everything, and that's actually like that. I did, especially in Promise of Blood, where I had a bunch of really cool ideas, and I did do a lot of world building before Promise of Blood, but I also did a lot of it on the fly. And that's something that I'm actually, now that I'm really designing my next big epic fantasy world, it's something I'm trying to avoid. I'm trying
Right.
to figure out how technology and magic affect society, in a way that's not as narrow as I kind of stuck with for Powder Mage. I tried to keep things very narrowed into what applied to the narrative, and that was part of my anti-world builder's disease, was that I was only doing what applied to the narrative.
Right.
Because as you're doing it on the fly, you don't really care about what's happening over here.
Right.
And but I'm trying to be better about that. I've done probably more world building on this next universe, and I'm only a fourth of the way through the first book. I've done more world building on this universe than I did at probably all of Powder Mage.
Exciting.
And I did 6 books. So it's about, yeah. So that's kind of my big. It's that's almost a do and a don't. It is, do figure out how the technology and the magic interact with each other and with society, but don't get so bogged down in trying to extrapolate every single little tiny thing that you don't actually ever write the story.
Right. Right. Absolutely. And there was just one other point that I wanted to make when you were talking about, thinking about how your magic and your technology can affect things. You kind of have to think like a cunning bastard. You have to be sneaky, and you have to think, how is somebody going to take advantage of this? How is somebody going to manipulate this for their own goals? Because in my mind, and you can call me a pessimist, that is the most realistic way that you will see your magic and technology proliferate through the world. How can somebody make money from it? How can somebody get gains from it in some way or another. And that's a very good way to start approaching how is it going to proliferate through your world, how is it going to interact with things, is what benefits can it give to an individual.
Right. Like one of the things I did when I was at the very beginning of my world building for Powder Mage was I have one magic system that is it is an elemental, very classic sort of hand wavy, explodey magic sort of thing, and they're called privileged sorcerers. And these privileged sorcerers have been around for all of human history, and they're basically a secondary nobility. They're just so powerful that these these cabals of sorcerers, they're advisors to the king. They're practically nobles unto themselves. They have tons of money and influence, all this stuff. And then I took the powder mages themselves, which are integrated in technology by by snorting gunpowder to get their magical power. And I said, okay, a powder mage, they get powers from snorting gunpowder. They're faster, they're stronger, they can think quicker, they can see further, all of their senses are heightened. But against a privileged sorcerer, that sorcerer is just going to turn them into a smear on the ground. However, a powder mage can also shoot a gun, a flintlock musket. They can shoot that from a mile away, and so if they can put a bullet in the head of a privileged sorcerer. And so it was taking a technology, a newer technology, and even though it wasn't as classically strong, it nullified the advantage that this older, stronger, more powerful magic had. And that was a really big part of the essence of what I was going to write about for 6 more books, was this kind of conflict between a technology that had magic linked to it versus something that's only magic.